The knit stitch with an Afghan hook, or as it's also called, Tunisian crochet, is a wonderful way to work up a quick fabric that is nice and thick, and it mimics knitting. You begin by chaining as many as you would like the width or length of your project to be. If you're making an Afghan or pot holder, whatever it is that you want to make, chain as many as you'd like according to your pattern. To work the loops on the hook, we simply go into our chain above that bottom loop, yarn over, pull a loop back, and leave it on my hook. And I work across the chain in this same manner for every chain until I have one loop on my hook for every chain that I have made. This is a 2-row repeat throughout the entire piece. You will work these loops off the same way that we do for basic Afghan stitch. And again, this is called a Tunisian Knit Stitch, abbreviated TKS. So now that we have all of our loops on our hook, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is how many chains I made. You don't need to make an extra one as you would if you were making single crochets, because you keep this first loop on your hook and you will always end with one loop on your hook. I'll show you what I mean here. So we work these loops off by yarning over and going through the first chain loop, yarn over and go through 2 loops until you get across the row back to where you have one loop on your hook. And now to work those loops back onto my hook, we're going to skip this first vertical bar here. This is the second vertical bar, and we're going to work in between the front and the back leg of that. So I insert my hook right in between there, and I yarn over and pull a loop through. Here's the next one, the vertical bar that's in the front and the one that's in the back. I go right between that, underneath those loops that I had worked off from before. So it's underneath this top part, right in between those legs, and I'm going to go through each one till I get to the end of the row. And the last one, I'm going to take these 2 loops here, and now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 loops again, and I work them off in the same way. Yarn over and pull through the first loop, then yarn over and pull through 2 and 2 again and 2 again until you get across the row. And as you keep doing that, those 2-row repeats, you're going to have this beautiful thick fabric that looks like you knitted it. So again, here's that vertical loop that's in the front, there's the one in the back. I go right in between those 2, yarn over and pull a loop through. Again, through there, through there. This is a large hook and a size 4 yarn, so it is very loose. And kind of soft and squishy with the fabric. And there I've worked off all my loops again. And you can start to see, the one thing with Tunisian crochet is it tends to roll up, and the way you can avoid that is by adding a border to it. Blocking can help. The border is probably the best way. And again, as I continue to work these 2 rows, I repeat this over and over until my fabric gets to be the size that I want it to be. You could make an entire afghan this way. You could also make squares and stitch them together or crochet them together. There's really many possibilities. Just make sure that you're going in between those two legs and underneath those loops that you worked off from the last row. And then on the end, catch these two here so that you have a nice square edge. It works up very fast. There's the bigger piece that I did. You can see how thick that is. It's the front. And on this one here, down here at the beginning, are regular afghan stitches or basic afghan stitches, basic Tunisian crochet stitch. And then these are the Tunisian knit stitch. I'll show you one more time on this piece. This one's a little bit closer. This hook is a smaller size. It's a J. The other one was an N. So here's my front leg. There's the back leg. I go right between there and pull a loop to the front. You can see them laying there if you'll just go next to that and underneath the loop that you worked off on the previous row. And as I work my way across, again, I'm going to have the same amount of loops put onto my hook each row. And on the end, I can grab those two loops at the bottom, yarn over, pull through the first, yarn over, pull through two, and two again, yarning over each time until you get back across the row, and you have completed your Tunisian knit stitch.